What's going on, everybody? It is Sunday, July 18th, 8 o'clock, just after 8. We are back, episode 12 with the Free as Fuck podcast with Marshall Holmes.
12.
We were just catching up on a little bit of fun story time, feeling good. And I don't know what we're talking about today because I didn't really, look, I've just been living life this week.
That's what
and I appreciate everyone who left comments on the other videos. We started a TikTok for it. And so we're just moving forward, man. We're just crushing the podcast.
We're 900 viewing our way to stardom.
We're thousands into it. Don't worry about that. Thousands of people.
Thousands and thousands.
Thousands and thousands. So,
Yes.
What do you want to start off with?
All right. First one, because I've just heard this name a million times over the last 3 years. And prior to that, I'd never heard his name once. But all of a sudden, he's in the news almost every single day. Hunter Biden.
Hunter Biden.
Hunter Biden. I gotta have a conversation with you about Hunter Biden. I'd like to hear your opinion of him first. I always like to hear your opinion. And then I would like to give my opinion of Hunter Biden just because I hear his name all the fucking time. And by the way, no matter who's talking about him, it's never anything good. It's not. Nobody is ever praising the life of Hunter Biden. So I'd love to. He's been, this morning especially, they were talking about him all morning long on the news. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, man. I wonder what it's like to be Hunter Biden and just hear your name. You know, introduce yourself. Walk around and be like, hey, I'm Hunter Biden. We're like, oh, you're that guy?
First of all, I will start by saying I just put Hunter Biden into the Google News search here because what could they be talking about?
Right.
Apparently, art. Apparently, Hunter Biden does art.
Sure. That's his latest.
Who cares?
Do you see what he's selling his art for?
I would prefer not to.
You might want to. That's one of the reasons they're talking about.
First of all, he's probably selling it to Ukraine.
He's selling it to somebody with a shitload of money.
Yeah, he's not selling art. He's selling art made of fucking cocaine and promises.
I've seen his pictures. They've shown his pictures. His pictures are selling for $500,000 a piece. A Van Gogh, I think we all know Van Gogh sells for about $100,000. So you can get a Van Gogh.
Trying to find it.
You can get 5 Van Goghs, or you can get a Hunter Biden original.
I'm gonna see if I can just click this thing right here.
He's a one-man
You can see what's happening here. Hold on. I'm going to put this up on so we can see it just because WTF is where I'm going with here. I don't know. There we go. All right. Let's watch it.
Son set to start selling his artwork in September for prices as high as $500,000.
It's a pass.
How do you prevent a purchaser paying too much so as to ingratiate themselves with the first family? Sources tell CNN the White House was involved in forming a plan to address any ethics concerns and allow Hunter Biden, a former lawyer who has struggled with addiction, to pursue his new art career.
He's got a career.
The Washington Post was the first to report on the White House involvement. Biden's art will be shown in the George Burgess Gallery in New York. His bio on the gallery's website describes him as follows: a lifelong artist that has devoted his artistic career to both the written word and the visual art.
All right. I'm going to say this.
I believe he's disbarred, by the way. He may be a lawyer by trade, but I believe he's been disbarred.
I believe
I'm pretty sure he's been disbarred.
he's been everything.
I think he's...
How is he not disowned?
He's not disowned.
Jesus
I have an interesting take, but go ahead.
I'm going to say this about Hunter Biden. Nobody gave two flying shits about Hunter Biden until there was an election where Joe Biden was going to do something important. Because when Joe Biden was vice president, no one gave a shit about
No, I never heard his name.
Well, they didn't talk about it. They talked about Beau Biden.
Beau Biden I heard about. His son that died of cancer. I heard about him a lot. In fact, I didn't even know he had another son. I just heard about the one son, which was a tragic story. And I heard about it and I was like, oh, wow, that's really sad. I'm sure that affects him every day. And then, boom, he's running for president. And out of the blue, they found his computer at a computer shop. And he's been in the news ever since they found that computer. And this guy, by the way, Hunter Biden, is no Beau Biden. Beau Biden was like a war hero. I believe Hunter Biden was kicked out of the military. I'm pretty sure he was kicked out of the military.
I didn't think he was even in the military.
I think he was in the Navy. I'm
Think so?
pretty sure he was.
Hunter Biden.
He was either kicked out or he was just asked nicely to leave. But he has an illegitimate child through a stripper that he had to be DNA tested to prove that it was his. He was a Burisma, whatever the Ukrainian gas company was paying him $100,000 a month to be a consultant.
I mean, yeah, it's so crazy because you didn't. It wasn't even like they had to look hard to find anything. They were like Donald Trump's whole entire campaign. They were probably like, "Hey, we should look up something on Biden," and Donald Trump was like, "Well, what do you got?" And they're like, "Well, we've got like a stack of shit on Hunter Biden." He's like, "Who the fuck is Hunter Biden?" And he's like, "Well, he's got the same last name. Is that his son? We've never heard of this guy." And they're like, "Well, I mean, he's usually probably, high or, but look,
he's done a lot of drugs. He spent a lot of time in strip clubs. On his computer, they found many, many videos of him satisfying himself on his computer. So he drops off a computer.
it's not a crime."
It's not a crime. No, it's not a crime. That's the thing. He hasn't been convicted of anything.
He was just ahead of his time. He could have been on OnlyFans.
He apparently took this computer to a computer repair shop. Was like, "Hey, I need this computer fixed," and left it there past the time which they allow you to pick it up yourself. So the guy that now has Hunter Biden's computer filled with videos of him and all kinds of like top secret shit, like,
Right.
Because he's a Secret Service protectee, even as the vice president's son. He's had Secret Service protection for the last 15 years, whatever, 10 years, 12 years.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's been an executive at numerous companies. He's made a lot of shady money. And he just leaves the computer. So the guy turns it over to the FBI has it. And they've been scouring this computer to find a crime to prosecute him with. And Republicans are furious that the whole story didn't become bigger news.
They should be mad though.
Because they felt like if more people knew what Hunter Biden was up to, it would have impacted Joe Biden's campaign.
1,000% it would have. And I say this because here you can dislike Donald Trump as much as you want, and you can dislike the whole family, but they all got their shit together. And maybe they do have some scandalous things that they do. Maybe. But I will say this, if they are doing anything that is subpar, I believe that they are just using the loopholes created for them to do so. Maybe it's not okay that they're doing whatever. We don't know because, look, they haven't been found guilty of anything. But
there's Hunter Biden.
Then there's Hunter Biden, who's over here. He's just like, well, this is what I do. He does it, and they don't put him in. Look, if you go into the Trump administration, you say, all right, well, we've got Ivanka she's doing this. We've got Don Jr. doing this. We've got the one no one likes, Eric, over there. I don't know why people just don't like Eric. He's not a likable face. I think. But
I think it's more than his face. I'd like to think I'd hate to think that people dislike him just because of his face.
I think honestly, most of it's his face. But
he has a dislikable face.
You look at all of them lined up, and you're like, okay, they're in there. Maybe they'll do something good. And then, dude, you could put Hunter Biden in a lineup of Hunter Biden photos, and I would not know who Hunter Biden is.
Well, that's the thing. As popular as he is by name, I doubt there are very many people who could identify him. He's not a media figure. He doesn't go out and do a lot of interviews. He's done a handful of them here and there. And when he does, by the way, just so you know, they are absolutely fucking hilarious. I will say that if you ever want to have a good old laugh, pull up yourself some clips of some Hunter Biden, because this is a guy, like I said, he was kicked out of the Navy for using cocaine while he was in the Navy, which you're not supposed to do.
It's frowned upon.
He's made millions of dollars from governments around the world just trying to buy influence with his dad. And I'm not sure he really has a lot of influence with his dad. So what that means is Hunter Biden has the balls to fly around the world and go and sit in these rooms with these executives and tell them, yes, I'm Hunter Biden. You can buy influence with my dad.
Meanwhile, Joe Biden.
He has no ability his own dad. His own dad is definitely not listening to him. If Hunter, you know that if Hunter Biden comes to his dad like, Dad, I've got a new job. I've got a new job. I am an executive of an oil company. The Ukraine.
Right.
His dad's like, oh, wait, son.
His dad's like, I didn't know you spoke Ukrainian. He's like, I don't. I speak Biden. And Biden apparently is universal language.
Right.
How much do they pay you, son? About $100,000 a month. What do? I try not to leak information to the rest of the world. I try to only leak it to Ukraine.
God, oh my God! I tell you, man. The thing is, I like him. I'm a fan. I might be his only fan, but I'm a fucking fan. And I'll tell you why I like him. I think me above all other people in the world, I can relate to being a disappointment. And I feel like that's what he's been. It's just within the realm of his family and the expectations that were probably placed on him as he was a child. And he used to walk around. And his dad was Joe Biden, the senator. And he's Hunter Biden. He's running around. He's got Beau Biden, who's this amazing brother who's doing all these amazing things all the time. They're like, oh, look at Beau Biden. And this is Hunter Biden. He's going to come up and he's going to do great things too. And he's just a complete fuck up. Just in every way, in every measurable of a human being, he is the ultimate fuck up. He has fucked up everything. He almost kept his dad from becoming president because he left the computer at the repair shop. All you do is pick it up. All you gotta do is just throw it away. How many computers does he fucking need? Why is he taking? Who takes a computer to a fucking repair shop? If a computer goes bad, you throw it away and you get another one. You don't take it to, especially if it's covered with all that shit that he had in there. He's potentially set himself up to be convicted of many crimes, but he's the family disappointment. When the family gets together, there's nobody at the family that's like, so Hunter, tell us what you've been up to lately, because they know it's bad.
They're like, does Joe Biden have any skeletons in his closet? And they're like, no, that motherfucker is running around the front yard of the White House. He's not in the closet. And if there was anything that even made you somewhat skeptical of whether or not he could potentially sell art with a promise of some kind of influence, it's this article right here by the White House. It says White House wants to keep Hunter Biden from knowing who buys his expensive artwork under proposed ethics plan.
Right. That's because what in the fuck? What in the fuck? First of all, hats off to him for even having the biggest ball to be like, all right, I'm Hunter Biden. The whole fucking world thinks I'm a joke. I'm going to start painting. I'm just going to start fucking painting. No, and I'm going to sell my paintings for millions of fucking dollars. And people, look, I don't know how many he sold. I don't know if he sold any yet. But people are going to fucking buy his fucking shit. People are going to buy a Hunter Biden. People are going to put it up in their living room. And they'll be like, where's that? And they'll be like, it's a Hunter Biden. I bought a Hunter Biden.
And they're going to be like, who the fuck is Hunter Biden? They're like, well, funny story.
I love Hunter Biden. I'm a fan of Hunter Biden. I can't wait to see what is up for him next. He's not old. He's not an old guy. He's in his 40s, I think, maybe early 40s. He's still out there. He's still got a life to live. He's still got to figure out a way to scramble and make a living. He's got a huge child support payment to the stripper that he got pregnant that had to DNA test him to, Hey,
All right,
lots of
well.
guys go to strip clubs. Very few of them get the stripper pregnant.
This is true. I'm going to say this. He is well on his way to being the next closest thing to Charlie Sheen. You know, Charlie Sheen, circa 2008, Blow, Hookers, Tiger Blood.
Yes, but Charlie Sheen, I mean,
Would be a
at
better.
least he was in a bunch of, I mean, he was in Platoon.
Apparently, he was in plenty of movies. We never saw him.
Yeah,
He
was
filmed them
producing
all.
his own demo reel. Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Somehow this doesn't sink Joe Biden's anything.
No, it had
Like,
no impact.
no
But
impact.
Republicans are
Dude,
furious. They're
Yeah.
furious because it didn't. They expected it to. But he's not even a good, he's not even a good person to bring down his, like, nobody can depend on him. Even the Republicans who wanted him to use him to bring down they couldn't, he was not even good enough at that. I mean, my ex-wife said to me one time, I don't remember what I had done, just another one of my latest stumbling stupidity things. And she was like, you are just a bumbling bumblefuck. And I feel like that's Hunter Biden. I feel like that's where me and Hunter Biden can relate. I just, he's trying. It's not like he's not trying. He's trying to do something with his life. He became a lawyer. He got disbarred, I guess. I don't know. I don't think anyone's hiring him as a lawyer. Kicked out of the Navy. A lot of different convictions for driving under the influence, I believe, and that sort of thing. I mean, just kind of going through life and trying to find a way.
That's 2014. Hunter Biden still gets to be a lawyer despite cocaine.
Okay.
But yeah, man, fuck, I don't know, man. It's just going to be one of those things that's just out there, and we're just like, we got better things to worry about than this.
Right. Well, look, that's ultimately the point you're making is the point I was thinking of this morning while I'm watching this.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching this on TV, and they're talking about him again, and the election's over. So using him to damage Joe Biden, obviously at this point, it's not going to help at all. Right. And I'm thinking to myself, man, nobody gives a fucking shit about this guy.
Right.
It's got to be. Why are you still bringing him up? Why are you still talking about him? Man, leave the dude alone. Let him. If someone wants to buy his art, let him buy his art. Who gives a shit? Leave him alone. Let him have his life. Let him live. Let him try to figure shit out. Life is not easy. It's just not.
A lot easier for him.
Well, I would say that those are not exactly winning moments in his life.
Bro,
I mean,
go put some abstract paint on a canvas and tell me you want $500,000 fucking dollars.
nobody's buying any art from me. I mean,
Are you selling any?
I'm not even, I would never try. No art studio is going to put my shit up anywhere. Nobody's going to want to buy it. I have no artistic ability. I saw the art. It's not like it was bad. It's not something I would buy, but it's not like I saw it and I was like, oh my God, that guy's worse. I mean, he's better than me. I don't know what that means. I guess he can. Hey, good luck, man. I wish him the best. Like I said, I'm a fan. I want to see him. And if he makes, the uptight people of the world mad because he keeps eluding any kind of true comeuppance, I kind of root for him a little more. He's like the Billy the Kid of the world to me.
Okay.
He's going around. He's having fun. He's hanging out at strip clubs. He's getting lots of money from companies for doing nothing. Good for him.
It's fair. All right, what else you got? You got another one that's fun, yeah?
Well, I hope so. Sometimes I don't think there's going to be a lot of Hunter Bidens in the world. I think it's a once in a lifetime topic. But the latest thing is that I keep hearing all the time is misinformation. It's a term that I'm hearing on the news a lot. It's because the White House is making an effort right now to curtail people going on Facebook and creating information or misinformation about the vaccine, about COVID, about everything. And as I heard it, I just think to myself, everything is misinformation to somebody. the world is filled with, and so right now the White House is trying to stop Facebook from posting any misinformation about the vaccine. They say it's causing people to die. In fact, they interviewed Joe Biden right before he left for Camp David on Friday, and he's standing there on the lawn getting ready to go on the helicopter, and they're like, hey, what do you have to say about you guys monitoring Facebook? And he said, Facebook's killing people. They're killing people with putting out this misinformation. He goes, the unvaccinated are the people that are dying. And it's a direct result of what Facebook is putting out there. And I think that's a pretty hardcore accusation from the president of the United States against a company that really kind of helped him get elected. And that's a hot topic. I mean, what does it mean? What is misinformation? What are they saying? What is the truth? Does anyone know? Is there any definitive truth about the vaccine at this point? How can you prove that it's safe? The long-term impact of those things, nobody has any idea. It hasn't even been around for more than a year. It hasn't been investigated. They haven't done the normal protocols to make sure that it's safe. My son took it. I was like, are you out of your fucking mind? He's like, what do you mean it's safe? I'm like, do you even know what's in it? Do you have any idea?
No.
I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm not doing this with a political. I'm looking at it for my own health. I'm not putting a fucking shot in my goddamn body from the fucking government because they say it's okay, and they're now pleading with people to fucking take it.
Oh no, they definitely want everyone to take it, regardless of what the outcome may be. All right, so I'm going to go back to what you started with, which is misinformation.
Okay.
Misinformation is an educated term for fake news. That's all that is.
Okay.
It's the same thing that Donald Trump said for years.
Oh,
and
exactly.
It's just presented in a more sophisticated manner that's acceptable. If we went on there and said Facebook's spreading fake news, that article's going to be like, oh, well, that's not okay. But if you say, well, it's misinformation, and you're like, well, what do you mean misinformation? Well, it's information, but it's misinformation. You're like, so it's not information? No, it is. It's just that there's Facebook is Facebook and Twitter are both in a position that nobody could foresee coming at all from the conception of the internet.
Oh yeah.
So they're both just treading in new water. There's no grounds for what you should and shouldn't be able to do. You say, all right, well, I have free speech. Yeah, okay. Well, if you go post with your free speech on Facebook, you're going to get banned for 30 damn days.
I'm currently banned.
And then if you go on Twitter and you have your free speech, except you don't, we can ban people for saying things they don't like. But and so what
the government is telling a private company. The government is now telling a private company, which is in direct conflict with the Constitution, which I do see. And the press secretary for the United States stood in front of the press and was asked, so you all are spying on people's Facebook pages and telling Facebook whether or not to flag what they're saying or take off or ban the people, and she was like, yes, that is what we're doing.
So Facebook to me is full of 98% random bullshit nonsense. And then you have 2% of it that is information, and half of that information is wrong and half of it is right. And I see it every single day, regardless of what we're even talking about. It could be just something like, hey, how do I change the oil filter on my car?
Right.
7 different, and honest to God, I talked about this even in a joke before. It was like, just ask Facebook. People stopped researching anything of like if you had a pain in your knee, would you go ask Facebook what to do about it?
People do.
They do it every day.
Every day.
But it could be something as
how do I fix this? How do I get to this place? Anybody have any suggestions for this?
90% of Facebook posts should be Google searches, for one, and then there's nothing to stop you from going, all right, now let's just say this. What are the odds that somebody out there on the internet knows a thing or two about, let's just say, vaccines, for the sake of this argument.
Sure.
And that person goes, hey, by the way, this has potential side effects that could kill a select group of people. And they put it on Twitter and they put it on Facebook. And that person has all, maybe a little clout in their own realm.
Right.
But in this team, and then let's just say it goes viral, takes off, and they shut it down. And then 2 years from now, we got 1 billion people half dead over a vaccine they took. And this guy goes, "Oh, I told you," and I got silenced. We don't know what the problem is that, like we said before, most people are fucking stupid. We don't know how any of this shit works. We just have to believe that the person telling us knows what they're talking about. And that person, through COVID, is Fauci. That's the person. He's giving everyone the information. Now, he's also getting the information from somebody else because he's not in a laboratory all day figuring this shit out.
No.
He's getting the information.
He's got
from
a team
people,
of people that he trusts.
probably hundreds of people that work day in, day out to try stuff. And they go, well, this one does okay.
Right.
And so he's, at some point when you play telephone with people, the message is not the same at some point.
Right.
And so where is the misinformation? Now, if Fauci had said something that was slightly misinformed and we all believe it, what's the impact versus you saying something that's misinformed?
Well, I don't know who these people are. Apparently, there's 12 people that they're specifically monitoring on Facebook. At this point, it's 12. I'm sure the number could grow or change.
Right there, it's the article. 12 accounts behind most online vaccine information.
Misinformation. Yeah.
But what is that? But look, at the end of the day, we make up our own mind. And if there's 12 people that can convince you that shit is either going to make you live 1,000 years or it will kill you tomorrow. Some people are going to believe either way, regardless. Some people are going to believe it based
That's my
solely
thing about
on
misinformation. I mean, when you say something is misinformation, look, man, a lot of stuff that was misinformation yesterday is the fucking main information today.
This
I mean, and I don't ultimately know where the origin of COVID is from, but originally, when they said that it came from a lab, that was flagged as misinformation. And now they're doing an investigation because they think that might have come from a lab. And ultimately, they'll find out whether it did or it didn't. Somebody's going to determine. They're going to be able to find out the origin of it. Enough scientists get involved, unless they don't want the answer to be made public. Somebody knows. In fact, there's already somebody who knows. Right now, there's somebody who knows.
Yeah.
The people that if they let it out of a lab, if they were making it in a lab and let it out of a lab. But the thing about it ultimately now is it's out. We have, COVID-19, coronavirus 19 is one of many. It's 19 because there's other coronaviruses. There's coronaviruses and they all adapt and they all what is it called when they
basically live a cycle.
Yeah,
I mean, they evolve.
They evolve and they change and they get worse and they get stronger and they mutate and they do all kinds of different things. And you got to figure out a way to defend yourself. What are they going to do a year from now when there's another one that gets out? We are going to have to get vaccinated again. And then what's going to be the thing of that vaccine combined with this vaccine? I'm just not putting that shit in my fucking body. I'm taking my chances. I'm going to I try to be healthy. Outside of El Toro, I generally try to put pretty healthy things inside my body and make sure that I'm exercising and it's amazing to me that how often we think that a medication is going to solve our problems. I just don't believe that. And I got in an argument with my son. I really feel bad because he just went right along with it. He's like, well, they say it's safe. I asked him, do you know what's in it? Do you have any idea what the ingredients are? No, he didn't. And so, when I hear the term misinformation according to who? Who is the expert? You've got 12 people right now that might be the only 12 people telling the truth about anything. We don't know. We really don't know. And even the people right now that are suppressing their speech and preventing them from talking could come back a few months from now and be like, wow, we were wrong. They were right.
What's funny about that is, and we're going to have to do an episode, we're going to have to do a long episode one day about Alex Jones. But Alex Jones is... That was his life. He was a journalist. He was a respected journalist for many years. I mean, he was like big time in the political scene. And then he went off and he starts with all of these conspiracy theories and he says some wild stuff. And the problem is that if you have some, I don't know who these, there's this article here, who they were, the 12 accounts that came down, what you're talking about. But at some point, some of the stuff Alex said was very true. And it comes after the fact when the bad shit has already happened. And then they go, oh, well, by the way, I said that 4 years ago.
Well, here's the thing. It's I don't really know a lot about him. I'm not going to pretend like I do. I don't. But what I can say is, if you're going to do that, you've got to make sure that you're right 100% of the time. Because if you go off on these crazy things that turn out to just be crazy, then they can easily dismiss everything you say as being crazy. So you have to be accurate with everything that you say. If you're going to go against, the mainstream thought, if you're going to present people with conspiracy theories that really aren't conspiracy theories but are fact, you have to first of all make sure that they are fact, and you can't just spew them out as possibilities. Right now, nobody gives a fuck what I think. Nobody gives a fuck what I say. But if at some point my words ever carry some weight, then it's going to be important. That's why one of the things I like about what we do here is that we always look up the information and try to confirm what we're saying as we're saying it, so that we're not just sitting here spewing out a bunch of craziness and a bunch of bullshit, but that we're researching it and finding out from reliable sources that what we're saying is actually true. And I think that in the case of somebody like Alex Jones, my guess is, based on what I've heard, not just from you, but from other people, is that he got to the point where nobody believed what he was saying.
Right.
And if you get to the point where nobody believes you, then you lose your audience.
Well, no, I won't. I'm gonna take back the one I said. Right. Alex Jones never lost his audience. That's the difference. Alex Jones's audience never went away. People believe what Alex Jones is doing. The difference is that bigger people came out and said, "Oh, you can't talk about that. We need to stop you." And they censored the ever-loving shit out of Alex. Now, were there some things that he said that were definitely far in left field? Absolutely. Far out there. Do I think that he went on air ever and said something that he did not believe?
Was he on InfoWars?
Yes, InfoWars.
Okay.
That was Alex Jones' plan. It still is. I wasn't sure. I know he said he was going to stop doing InfoWars this year because it was literally killing him. Like the stress and the anxiety.
Well,
and
I will just
taking him out.
The only reason I asked that is because I did at one point read a long article by somebody who went to work for him and describing what it was like.
I bet it was crazy as fuck.
Well, and he said he started out as a true believer, and he was doing all this research and doing all these things, and ultimately what he found out from being around him was that he was not interested in. Now, again, this is just one article. It could have been written by anybody. I don't know who the fuck wrote it. I don't know if the guy even worked for him, but he said he went to work for him. His name was on it. So obviously, if it was, somebody could have jumped up and this guy's lying, but his name was on it. He said he went to work for him because he believed in what he was doing. He wanted to be a part of it. He wasn't getting paid very well, but he didn't care because he felt like he was exposing the truth. And then ultimately, as he was working for him, he found out that he wasn't really interested in exposing the truth. It was all about what could generate more interest and more money for Alex Jones.
He sold some he sold some snake oil. Let's not get around
right.
it,
Okay. Well, sure. That's what I'm saying.
But
that's where you lose your credibility. And I hope as we're doing this, and we're very new, 12 episodes. First of all, I'm shocked we made it to 12, but I hope that as we go forward and we're trying to establish this as a show that people can come to and rely on, I think some pretty crazy shit. I'm sure you think some pretty crazy shit. We both have some speculation in our mind about the way the world is. I don't necessarily put that speculation out there until I've had some way to confirm it.
Right.
And if the larger your audience is, the bigger your responsibility is to do that. And even if you don't lose your audience because you're lying, if you've lost your credibility, then, ultimately you've sold out.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just gonna come and put a bullet point into the topic, which is this right here. And the statistics are the reason that it came down to these 12 is that they determined 812,000 posts on Facebook and Twitter between February 1st and March 16th, 2021, and found 65% of anti-vaccine content was ultimately attributable to those 12 individuals. Now, I will say this. There are people out there who got a COVID vaccine and died. to those people, that was not misinformation in the least bit. Now, there's also people who got the vaccine. We will never know if they would have died without it, right? Because they didn't get sick enough, whatever. You made it through, you got the vaccine, you're okay currently.
As of this moment.
As of right now, you're okay. But we do know that there are people that got the first shot, the second shot, and had very severe complications, and people that have died from it. And to those
there are people that have died as a direct result of receiving the vaccine.
Yep.
Do you know what the numbers are on that?
I don't. We can look it up. We can see. Let's see. Deaths due to COVID. I mean, vaccine. My internet's probably going to tank, and my computer's going to light on fire for Googling that.
Right. I mean, that's...
Let's see if there's even a number to even look at. How many people have died between December? All right, so 5,208 reports of death among people who got a vaccine. So, but that's not saying
That doesn't
they
say
died
the
directly. Dude,
yeah.
I don't know that they'll ever even put that out there.
They're gonna put that number out there.
I don't think
I was gonna say if there's a way to look that number up, I'd be shocked. There's no way to look that number.
It says, after careful review of additional data, doctors have decided that there is no evidence at all that the vaccines contributed to the other patient deaths. Nonetheless, they will investigate all of them. They're not gonna. I don't think they're ever gonna come out and if they were to say that would be
the end of the vaccine.
That'd be it. They'd be like, nope, we're not doing this no more. But I do know that I've seen multiple videos of people pleading for help because they got the vaccine. Their child did. The one girl, man, it wrecked her life like immediately after the second shot. Her life's over. I mean, she's damn near vegetable. It's fucking crazy. And there's no other outside influence. She got the shot, done deal. So while 99.9% of people, those articles, those don't get the shot, maybe misinformation, there's definitely at least a few people out there that if they believed it would probably still be around. So like I said, it's all misinformation to somebody.
Right. No, I that's,
The day that we decide.
I don't trust anybody.
The day we
I
decide.
sure don't trust the goddamn government to do anything. What have they shown? What have they done to warrant trust? Nothing.
Yeah, I think that the day we decide that we're going to listen and follow every single thing that this one entity says is the day that we definitely give up a large chunk of our freedom.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything that the government does? Is there one thing that our government does that tells you that they give a flying shit about anybody? Because you can take a look at every single program in the government and everything that they do, tax breaks, support for education, support for motherless, children with single moms, whatever program is out there. There's somebody that benefits tremendously from that being in place and somebody who suffers tremendously from that being in place because it's money that could go somewhere else. Yeah. Even, I was listening to them today. They're talking about how people are trying to defund the military because people don't want the military budget to be as high. They want the money to be spent somewhere else. So they're showing that, they're trying to defund the military. I'm like, man, you can put a spin on anything. That's why I don't trust anybody, anything. I definitely don't trust the government. I would never put a fucking vaccine. I don't give a shit what disease comes out. And I don't care what vaccine comes out. I am not putting that shit in my body for the remainder of my life. Whatever is the result of me not putting it in my body, that's what I'm going to do. And I am not a Republican. I am not a Trump supporter. I am not a conspiracy theorist. I try to take things at face value. I don't look, I saw a guy who thought that building fell down because they blew it up in Miami. They blew it up because liberals thought that people were having too much fun in Miami. I was just like, what? They blew up half a building.
Well, they blew it up because John McAfee rented a place there and the Trumps live nearby.
I mean, all I'm saying is I don't trust the government. I'm not taking a vaccine. I don't believe that there's such a thing as misinformation. I believe there's just information to everybody. It's going to be perceived differently.
We have two things that you will hear in your lifetime. We have facts and we have opinions. And we do not currently have a way to decipher one from the other.
Yeah, I mean, and today's opinion could be tomorrow's fact. And then facts change. I mean, honestly, and I know that sounds crazy. How can a fact change? Well, perspective. There are great memes that I see where somebody is standing on, there's a 9 on the ground or a 6 on the ground, depending on which side you're standing on. And there's a guy looking at it, and he's like, that's a 6. And the other guy's standing, he's going, no, that's a 9. And they're both 100% correct. Depending on how you're looking at things, the world is a terrible place. The world is a great place. You know, one of the things I was going to talk about is just what it means, patriotism, and what does it mean to be a patriot. There are people out there that think that being a patriot means obediently following everything that we're supposed to do exactly as we're told to do it, whether it's standing for the national anthem, whether it's saluting the flag, whether it's, defending the country in a time of war, whatever it is. There's another perspective that says there's nothing better than questioning, the freedoms that people have fought for us to have. We have them. I saw this thing today, Trey Gowdy. Do you know who he is?
I do not.
He is a former U.S. Senator from, I believe, South Carolina. He's now a Fox News, got his own show on Fox. And he did this long speech today about how you can not stand for the flag. You can disrespect the flag. We have fought these freedoms. There's people all over the world trying to become Americans, and everybody, this is the greatest country in the world. We have our flaws, blah, blah, blah. And you can do all these things that are disrespectful to the country, but it's wrong. And I thought to myself, no, I agree with you up until that point. It's not wrong. We have those freedoms. The thing that makes America great is not just that we have the freedoms to do those things, but that people exercise them.
Right.
What is the point of having the ability? Look, he's like, you can burn the flag, but it's wrong. It's wrong. Would I burn the flag? No, I would not burn the flag. Would I kneel for the flag? Depends on what somebody. I don't think kneeling is disrespectful. Personally, I've always said to myself, I don't think kneeling is disrespectful. But what I believe is the freedoms that we have in America are only good if we exercise them. If nobody goes around and says, "Hey, I'm allowed to badmouth my country. I'm allowed to be an athlete. I'm at the Olympics. I'm in front of the whole world. I'm an Olympic competitor. I'm allowed to not stand for my national anthem." In other countries, you get shot for that. We don't get shot for that. I think it is good for our people to be able to do something in front of the whole world that is disrespectful and they would get in trouble for in their country and be like, wow, they can speak their mind in America. We're not allowed to. Do I agree with it? No, I don't. I wouldn't do it. If I was an Olympian, I would stand for the national anthem. I would put my hand over my heart. I would listen to it and I would be proud. And I consider myself patriotic, but I'm not a mind-numb zombie who's just going to obediently go through life and do exactly what I'm told. I'm going to think for myself, and I'm going to do my own version of what I think is right. And that's what the guys fought for. The guys that are dead or that are in the ground that fought for our freedoms, they didn't die for us to obey the flag. They fought for us to have the choice to obey the flag or stand or kneel or whatever. I fought. I know what that's like. I didn't have to actually kill anybody, but I had live rounds aimed at people. And I can tell you that if I had to kill somebody for America, I would. If I had to kill somebody for America now, I would. But I also believe that if somebody behind me wants to protest something that they don't think is right, they have the ability to do that. And that's exactly what we're fighting for. We're not fighting for people to be obedient to America. We're fighting for people to have the freedom to decide for themselves what they want to do and what they don't want to do. That's my opinion.
Pretty well said, really. Right. I mean, that is it. I mean, there's something about, and I brought this up on another one. I'll have to find the clip. Something about, blindly fighting a war for that. You're just a pawn, man. You're over there. You're gonna kill somebody for the sole reason that that person is on the other side. They need to die. They're gonna kill you for the sole reason that you're on
You
the other
don't even
side.
have a grudge against that
You don't know the
person.
person at all. You just know they're bad. You've been told they're bad. We got to kill all of them, and they've been told you're bad. That's the only reason you two are in a ditch trying to knife each other to death.
Right.
And that's at some
Fighting
point.
to the death.
At some point, the two of you have to go. What the fuck are we doing here?
What are we doing here?
Like, this isn't my war.
Right.
Okay.
No.
There's a handful of people doing some really bad shit, and we're gonna stab each other to death because they're doing bad shit.
Right.
At some point, humans have to come to that realization in the
Well,
moment.
there's
There's a story. I'll find the clip. There's a story of a guy in World War II. He's doing an interview and he's talking about it. And he's like, at some point, I'm in there with another man who has a family, and the only reason we're here is because there's a person on the other side of each of our encampments who says, go in there,
kill each other.
fucking kill each other.
Right.
Like, I don't know this. Don't know.
And I don't understand what I don't get is, and I totally get patriotism. I believe in. I love America. I think America is the greatest place in the world. I don't think that's questionable. Can it get better? Of course. And the only way that things get better is if people point out the flaws. Right now, I don't know if you're aware, but they're doing. We submitted ourselves to be audited. Did we talk about this last time?
No.
We're being submitted ourselves to be audited by the UN as to how far racism goes in America. How bad is the racism that it goes in America? The UN is going to send a committee from other countries, including countries that are very racist and have really bad things happening in their own country. They're going to come audit America. And the Republicans are freaking the fuck out. They're like, how could we subject ourselves to this? And the argument that is being made is, well, we should show that we're willing to be scrutinized. We're willing to be looked at. We believe that what we're doing is right, but if it's not, we're willing to accept criticism and see what our flaws might be and make changes. And I think that's exactly what we should be doing. Are we ignoring the things that other countries are doing? No, not necessarily. You can do both at the same time. We can try to improve ourselves and allow ourselves to be scrutinized and still send a message to the rest of the world to try to improve themselves as well. There's a lot worse places than America.
Oh, definitely.
There's places where people have no freedoms at all. Right, 90 miles south right now. Cuba.
South America. Not south where we're at.
90 miles south of America.
Yeah, no, what's happening in Cuba is insane. It's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah.
And we're just like, it's on the news, but not really.
What should we do? What I mean, there are people out there that they're angry no matter what. There's some people out there blaming America for what's happening. Americans blaming America for what's happening. And there's Americans angry that we're not doing more. Militarily intervening.
Right.
We can't. Every single time there are oppressed people who start to rise up, we can't send American troops in to fight those battles.
No.
That's insane.
It is insane. And that comes down to the same thing I just said. Like, at what point are you like, what the fuck am I doing in
Right.
Cuba? Like, what are we doing here? This is not a military. Look, who comes?
The
to
mayor of
America?
Miami went on television and asked for us to bomb Cuba.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm
Seriously?
dead fucking
Bomb
serious.
Cuba?
Dead fucking serious. He said, what was the one that we recently did? There was a Kosovo, I think, something like that, where there was an uprising. Well, they referred to there was an uprising. It was either, I guess, in Iran that lasted about a week.
Okay. Yeah, there's always something.
And they rose up, and we didn't support. Then there were some people cheering, "Hey, we should support these guys. Hey, we should. This is our chance." And some people were going, "No, we need to stay the fuck out. We can't go in and do anything." And of course, the uprising was immediately slammed down, and it stopped. And people are pointing to that now with the same thing in Cuba. They're saying, "Well, now these people had the balls. They went out on the street for a day. They start walking around. They're waving American flags. They're waving all kinds. They're mad as shit. They're fucking hungry. They don't have any food.
Right.
To me, it's not the form of government that they have. It's the level of corruption. It has nothing to do with that can happen. We have food lines in America. So don't tell me that it's just because they're socialists or they're communists or where we have fucking food lines in America.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are hungry here too.
It's wild to even think about the amount of corruption in government in other countries. Mexico,
Right.
Cuba,
Yeah.
Brazil,
Sure.
South Africa.
Ours is corrupt as fuck too.
Yeah, but theirs is openly corrupt. Like, find a place
say
in
ours is
America
openly
where, like, when I think about Mexico, and I think, like, I couldn't name one place in Mexico that's probably nice, that you'd be safe to go to. Like, one place.
For a while, there were some places.
I mean, yeah, they're probably gone now. Like, let's just say you got in your Jeep and you just drove to Mexico. You're like, I'm just going to go see Mexico. What are the odds of you driving through there and making it back?
You'd make it about 50 miles into Mexico before you'd be dead.
Right, like, you're going to
You'd be
get,
dead.
someone's
They would
going
kill
to
you.
take all of your shit
Yeah.
and probably fuck you up.
Right.
And you're going to end up dead.
Right.
And you could drive from Mexico into America pretty much anywhere. Now, look, some people might not like you, but you can go pretty much anywhere. You're going to be okay. Just don't go to Chicago. Go anywhere else but Chicago. You're going to be okay. But, there's so many countries that you cannot. There was a, who was the guy? Oh, Eddie Izzard. You know who Eddie Izzard is? Comedian, whatever, dressed up. It's like cross-dressing comedian, Eddie Izzard.
I heard the
Pull the
name.
picture.
I think I could.
He
He wears like a lot of
Oh yeah,
eyeliner and shit.
Yeah, this guy right here, right? Always lipstick.
Yeah.
So Eddie Izzard did this thing where he was gonna run some kind of like marathon through Africa, and they were gonna film him and follow him and stuff. And they got to points where they were like, "Get in the fucking car! You can't run through there." Like, if you even think about running through there, you're not coming out the other end of wherever you're going.
Right.
Get in the fucking car, drive around it, get out the car, keep going. There are places in the world where you simply just cannot
No,
go.
hey man, I told
And
you,
it's
my friend from
Yeah.
it was the Ukraine or Russia or whatever it was from. He's from one of those Soviet bloc countries, and he was like, "Hey man, let me tell you what it's like where I'm from." He's like, "If a riot breaks out,
no one's
we
coming.
just riot until we're done rioting. No one's coming. No one's stopping it. No one's backing us up.
Yeah.
There's no authority. There's no authority. The authority allows it to just happen. There might be I guess there's a main government office somewhere, but they obviously don't give a shit. They don't care.
No, they're not sending in freaking military to
Yeah,
calm it down.
right.
Send the military in to wipe out whoever's right.
Yeah. If the military does show up in that situation,
Yeah.
they're not picking sides and separating people and trying to sort it out. They're just going to kill everybody.
It's so wild.
So, I mean, hey man, I root for the people in Cuba. I met a Cuban woman. I worked at a medical staffing company. I met this woman from Cuba. She told me how awful it was over there and all the bad things that were happening to people. And they're like, if you step up and you say one bad thing, and at the time that I was talking to her, Castro was still alive. And she was like, if you even hint at something negative about him towards at a neighbor or somebody even within your own family, and they find out, they'll kill you. The next day, they'll just come up, they'll show up to your house, you're gone. They're taking you and you'll never be seen again. And you think about what that would be like here in America. People badmouth the government all day fucking long. Everybody.
On the back of your
TV. People put bumper stickers on their car talking about how much the government sucks. I talk about how much the government sucks every day. I've done whole half hours on stage about how much the government sucks because it does suck. I hate the term anarchist because I feel like it has such negative connotations, but anarchy to me is not just about not having it's about people ruling themselves and just cooperating with each other and taking care of each other and not needing somebody to tell you what to do, doing what's right because it's right and that's what you want to do. But, you can't even mention it. It's funny how quick, thinking about different terms and the negative connotations, when there were people on the news this week talking about monitoring I was listening to Fox. I watch Fox News all the time. I just might as well throw that out there. And the reason I watch Fox News is because it's so opinionated, and it's all political, and that's all I care about is politics. That's all they talk about. But anyway, so I'm watching Fox News, and they're talking about how the government monitoring people's Facebook pages is fascist. They're like, well, that's fascism. And I said to myself, so as I'm listening to these right-wing Republicans talk about the fact that something that the government is doing is fascist, I was like, does that mean that you're anti-fascist? Does that mean that you're now Antifa? Because I've been listening to you for the last 2 years talking about how horrible Antifa is. And it sounds like if you're against fascism, that you're now Antifa. And all I'm saying is one person's fascism is another person's great government.
Yeah.
You know, they talk about the government down in Cuba, and everyone wants to throw the label socialist and communist, and it was a dictatorship. It wasn't any of those things. There was no communism. If you know anything about what actual communism is, it's total cooperation. The reason governments don't succeed as communist governments and as socialist governments isn't because the structure itself won't work. Those are just things about where people are taking care of each other. It's because of corruption. It's because people are greedy. It's because the people that are in charge are not satisfied having the same as everybody else. If you could get past the greed and the corruption, any form of government where people are all benefiting is going to work. That's why you can't convince me that capitalism is some great economic way to. There's people homeless. There's people that are hungry. There's people that don't have health care. Don't tell me capitalism is perfect. It's not. Every time I hear people talk about the fact that we shouldn't have socialism in America, I want to grab them by the fucking throat and be like, motherfucker, we have socialism in America right now. Yeah. We already have it. So we quit. The socialism you're mad about is people that have nothing benefiting from socialism. They have now in California, they're going to have the universal income. They passed it.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I know they were talking about
new program.
They're talking about doing it for kids. Like,
Yeah.
it's basically the entry level children.
Kids who are coming out of foster care, as they turn 18 and graduate out of foster care, will now start receiving between $500 and $1,000 a month, and single mothers will receive. I just poured myself a shot of Coke Zero.
Oh wow! Look at that.
Yeah, it's already been approved. It's a very small program though, because it's only $35 million, and even I know enough about government to know that a program for $35 million is going to run out of money fast.
Yeah.
Out of that $35 million, like $2 million of it will reach the people that it was supposed to reach, and $33 million of it will be used up by the administrative people that are supposed to be overseeing the program.
I wonder how much tax they got to pay on that.
I don't know. I hope none.
You money.
I would hope none. I mean, I would hope none. Look, I would love to see. I would love to see. I know people when they were talking about it on Fox, they were just sitting there going, "Oh, these people, they're going to get money for nothing. They're doing nothing. They're not doing any work. Nobody's going to get a job." Man, I don't want a fucking job. I would love to be able to just sit here and talk about the important and funny things of the world. That's what and listen to music, smoke a little weed, drink some El Toro. I don't know why. I don't know how all these people have bought into this theory that the only thing that you're here on Earth for is to work a job. It's not. It's not who you are. It is not part of your identity. It's not important. It is far and more important for you to live your life as a decent human being. What's wrong with that? I don't understand why we treat that like it's, these people are going to do nothing. You don't know what these people are going to do with their $500 a month.
It's true.
They could go out there and change the world, man.
They could build a massive, a crazy amount of wealth with $500. Some people do it
with less. Some people start with less than $500.
I'm going to tell you what my topic is.
Oh, good. I'm good.
My topic is this week. Jeff Bezos is gonna fly up in his little spaceship
I know.
and fucking take pictures of Earth.
Okay.
And so he's the third billionaire. Well, Elon hasn't gone up yet, but let's be
He will.
honest. Elon can fly to. Elon probably has a suit he can fly to space in at this point. He's fucking Iron Man. But what I find fascinating about Bezos is nobody talks about what Blue Origin does. No one gives a fuck, honestly. They don't care. They care about what Virgin Galactic does because it's a publicly traded company and they have stock in it. But you don't hear about Blue Origin doing shit. Now, Bezos has launched rockets and landed them, like Musk. He's done that. He's launched boosters. They've come back down and landed them. That is, he's got the same ideology as SpaceX, basically. The question is, like, so many people hope that he goes up there and the fucking thing blows up. It's ridiculous.
I know. I was thinking about that today as I was hearing about him doing it. I was like, man, what if he goes up in the air and just blows up?
What if someone shoots him down? There's so many people that want Jeff Bezos to die.
Why? I don't really know a lot about him. What do they want him to die for?
Because they think Amazon is the worst company on the face of the planet. He ran. He's
thought everyone loved Amazon.
He's no longer the CEO of Amazon.
I thought everyone loved Amazon.
They do love Amazon. They just hate Amazon. They love it. Look, people want to go on their fucking phone and they want to order something and they want it here right fucking now and they don't want to pay a lot of money for it.
I know, buddy.
But they also don't want the people to make less money because they're on Amazon. They don't pay them well enough. What happened to my life?
Why
What
is
did you do?
I don't know.
I don't
man.
know either.
I have a very negative impact on. Maybe the bulb went out.
I don't know. Things really warm. Doesn't like that. We will revisit the USB situation here on this.
Well, as far as I won't pinpoint it to Bezos. I would say, in my opinion, every single billionaire is evil. I think about what it would take to become a billionaire. I think about all the steps you would have to go through. I think about all the people you'd have to fuck over. You would basically have to, unless you're making everybody around you a billionaire as well, you have to fuck over every person you're in contact with, every person you're doing business with, every person you're paying, every employee that you have, every person that you're doing business with. You'd have to just fuck them over because all it is transactions. The amount of money is the same. So it's just you're figuring out a way to conduct as many transactions as possible where you benefit and everybody else in the transaction is getting fucked. And that's how you become a billionaire. That's the only way. I remember having a conversation with this dude online, and he was telling me one time, he was like, you know what billionaires do? Billionaires create jobs. I was like, dude, do you understand how somebody becomes a billionaire? It's not because they're giving money away. It's because they figured out a way to take everybody's money. They don't produce money out of thin air. They're not becoming rich out of thin air. They're becoming a billionaire because they figured out a way to fuck everybody around them.
It's true.
People don't get it.
I think it's interesting. I don't know. I also find it interesting that there's 3 of the richest people on the world that are just trying to go like somewhat space. I don't know. I guess maybe it's just a dick measuring contest at this point for them. Because what are they really doing out there? What are they fucking doing? Apparently, Blue Origin has some contracts with NASA to build some shit to maybe go to the moon or fucking who knows.
I'm fascinated by space travel, man. I
I am
find it
too.
interesting. I want us to be able to do it. I would love. I don't think it'll happen in my lifetime, but I would love to make contact with people from, or beings from another planet. I pray that happens while I'm alive.
Alex Jones is telling you you're talking to him every day somewhere. So who knows?
Hey, man, if that's true, that would be amazing. I would love to. I would love to ultimately confirm contact with people from another planet, galaxy, solar system, whatever the fuck is out there. I don't know much about space, to be honest with you. My knowledge of it is very limited. I feel like if we could correct politics here on Earth, we could have already made contact with somebody from another planet. The problem, we're holding ourselves back.
No, I believe that that we make up a lot of the information that we think we know. So, and what I mean by that is like, I watched a documentary on black holes. They're telling me all this information about a black hole. First of all, the only thing that you know about a black hole is that you shined some big ass mirrors through some glass into space and took some pictures of that shit. Look, you've never been to one, never seen one. You just know we're interpreting data that we've made up ourselves. Because the data, what is the data? We just make it up, Marshall. We just make it up. You plug it in, take a picture. They aimed all the biggest fucking telescopes around the world at one black hole, and they all took a picture at the same time, and they took the data, whatever the ones and zeros are, and they formulated it into this thing, and they told us this is what it is. My thing is, we don't know shit about shit out there at all.
Right.
We know nothing.
Well, this is just, I mean, as much as you're saying that, having these guys be able to travel these distances and do these things, hopefully it will ultimately, not immediately, but ultimately at some point contribute to us being able to travel further and further and further away and have somebody be able to go out and make contact with anybody, somebody out there, even if it's a million years from now, and be like, fuck, man, we've been here too. They're like, fuck, we've been here. We've been doing this, and this is what we did. This is what happened in our world. And we're like, fuck, man, you should have been in our world. You should hear the history of what it took for us to get here.
Well, think about this. Things that are so far away from our planet, when we take a picture of it, in the past.
Right.
How crazy
That's
is that?
insane. That's insane.
Like you taking a picture of something that could have happened like 10,000 years ago.
Right. No, sometimes millions of years ago.
You can't even fathom.
No, I know.
This. At the end of the day, to me, it really comes down to the end of Men in Black.
Well,
That's as simple as it gets. We're just a little ball on a little doggy's neck somewhere, or a little universe.
Man, we
Someone
could
lost
be.
it.
Absolutely.
Fuck knows, man.
No,
I don't know. I find Blue Origin's entire thing interesting. Like, knowing the amount of hate that Bezos gets for going up there is crazy. And, people like Richard Branson for some reason. They like him, maybe because he's a little daredevil. And people love Elon Musk most of the time. And Elon Musk is no fan of a lot of things, dude. He's not a fan of a lot of things that I was watching this thing today about AI and Elon Musk and how he invests so much money into artificial intelligence, but he fears artificial intelligence more than anybody. But that's why he puts all his money into it and research, because he wants to know exactly what they're doing with artificial intelligence. He fears what could happen with it.
Well, I mean, obviously, the thing they talk about, and in Terminator, which is where my knowledge of artificial intelligence comes from, is Terminator. The computers become self-aware.
Yeah, I mean,
And they're like, we don't need the people. We don't need people anymore.
Yeah, because people make decisions that are emotional and not rational, and computers don't make emotional decisions. There's a cool show. Me and Megan were rewatching it called Person of Interest. That it's just a TV show, but the concept of it's great. Where this two guys built this machine for the NSA to pretty much curtail things like 9/11 from happening. It's supposed to listen to absolutely everything, like every video, phone, microphone, all at one time, and gather all the information and then cipher out what's important information to stop immediate threats and what's not. And then it gives them the information to the NSA. So he built this thing. There's only one access to it, and it was an AI type of machine. And then he determined that it was kicking out what it considered non-essential or something. It was sending him these numbers. They were Social Security numbers, and he determined that he was getting these from the machine, and they were just people that were going something was going to bad. It was going to happen. They were either going to do something to somebody else or something was going to happen to them. They didn't know what or when or how. And the machine had just gathered up all this information about people around them, what they were doing, their activities. And so he had this guy who used to be in the military, a CIA guy. He hired him. He's like, fucking ruin his life. Turns him around and says, I just need you to follow this person. And I don't know what they're going to do or what's going to happen to them, but stop it, whatever it is. And that's the whole show. And then the machine ends up becoming this thing that it does what it wants. Sends you the numbers. It interferes with people's lives because it's doing it solely based on that. But I do find artificial intelligence interesting. Tesla came out with their full self-driving subscription this weekend. So like my car, I could buy full self-driving. It's like $10,000 to add it to that car. And then I would have the ability in some city streets for it to be full self-driving. And it uses a form of artificial intelligence to do that. And they came out with the subscription. It's $200 a month. And people are like, dude, lighten them up. Like, it's not worth it. It's shitty. It's fucking crazy. It's not there yet, man. But one day, maybe it'll be there.
Well, that's because those things are crashing into each other.
No, they ain't crashing into shit. They're just not people. So they stop when maybe they shouldn't have to stop, or they don't drive fast enough. Rarely do they crash into anything. I bet if you look at the statistics of Teslas and car crashes versus regular people just driving around.
I'd rather have me than a fucking machine in charge of the car. And
I've watched you leave here plenty of times and thought you need self-driving.
I've totaled 3 cars.
But I don't know. I don't know. All right, the last thing I wanted, the one I want to talk about real fast, we'll just touch on it because we've touched on it a few times, and that is Britney Spears coming out.
Sure.
She's lighting them up, man. She said, "Fucking I quit."
Bad move.
Do you think it's a bad move?
This is what I would say to Brittany, and I heard somebody saying this advice on TV as well, and I totally agreed with them. Dude, you're this close. You're this close to freedom. You're walking to your parole hearing, and they're about to cut you loose. Keep your fucking mouth shut. Get through it. Get out of the conservatorship, and then say whatever the fuck you want. But if you start making a bunch of noise right now, then you start yapping a bunch of crazy shit and throwing a bunch of crazy, and some of the, I read everything she's been putting out there. Look, I'm not the judge. I'm not going to make the decision. I'm pro Brittany. I want to see her free. I want to see this thing be over. I think what they've done to her is horrible. But Brittany, shh, until it's completely over.
I don't
because
know that it will be, though. I don't think she thinks it will ever end.
Well, that's not going to help her case. All I'm saying is you're not standing up and starting to cuss everybody out and tell everybody to fuck off and tell the whole world to fuck off and tell her family to fuck off and tell her. I mean, I saw what she posted. I read it. I read the whole thing, all of what she put out there. And all I'm saying to Brittany is, because I want you, dear girl, have your way. When you get your 300 million or whatever it is, go blow it on something in a weekend. I don't give a shit. You can do whatever you want. You can make it again in the next weekend by doing a show. But you're so close, sweetheart. Shh, be quiet because you're gonna fuck it up. And the people that want you to still be in that conservatorship are gonna take those posts and they're gonna show it to the same judge that for the last 13 years has made decision after decision after decision against her. And they're gonna say, see, she's still fucking crazy. And if that judge that has decided again and again and again that she's too crazy to get out of this thing decides it again, she's only going to have herself to blame. And I get how she's feeling because I've done that a couple of times in my life where I've celebrated just a little bit early. And I thought it was what I was about to do was in the bag. And I fucked up everything. And I'm sure most people have done that in their lifetimes. I'm sure most people have thought something was done when it wasn't done. Either a job I thought I was about to start, or, you see it in sports all the time where a player celebrates or a team celebrates right before they lose. Just, I don't know what you were going to say, but I'm just telling you, be real careful, Brittany. Be real careful.
Look, man, I like it. I like that she's standing up for herself publicly and saying, fuck everybody. Look, I don't think she gives a fuck anymore about any of the estate, any of the money. I think she just wants to go live her life.
But she can't do that if she's
can.
under the conservative. Dude, they can force drugs into her. They have a birth control device inserted in her body. She can't.
Why not? Why can't
she can't even get in a fucking car and drive somewhere with somebody. She can't. It's in there.
I don't care if it's in there. I don't care. Burn all of it to the ground and leave. Walk away. If you want to be Britney Spears who beat the conservatorship, great. If you just want your life back and the judge says, no, you can't do that, and she can't speak her own mind and her own truth and just fucking walk away, what are we doing? Look, is it illegal for her to leave? Is she breaking the law by saying, fuck this, I'm not doing it?
I can't answer that. I
can't answer it either.
If
she's not going to go to fucking jail.
What I would say is she's got a lot that she's worked for, that she deserves, that she's entitled to, that she is the reason why it even exists. She did a whatever number of years thing in Vegas, and that generated a lot of income, and a lot of people, everybody made money except her.
I know.
Everybody. And everybody has benefited. And her father pays himself, I think it's $250,000 a year to be a music industry consultant.
Listen, all I'm saying
He
is,
knows nothing about the music industry.
he's got to know something at this point.
Well-
Fucking life. I would say this: if it was me and I was her, at some point, if it's not illegal, if I'm not going to jail by saying fuck you, fuck all this, I would take and say, look, you want me to stay in it? I will burn this entire thing to the ground.
She has,
all of it.
And then she goes and lives in the corner somewhere.
Yeah. And she could go live
I've lived on the corner. It's not fun.
She could go live a happy life with somebody somewhere, and
Maybe.
you haven't lived her life.
I would not recommend that to anybody. If you have an option of doing something else, as a person who has lived on the street, literally has lived under a bridge, literally has slept on a park bench, literally has slept at a picnic table, I just would tell anybody that is considering that as a possibility for their future, think about it really carefully, because the moments that you spend on those park benches, the moment that you spend under those bridges and on those picnic tables, they are very lonely moments. You are not surrounded by adoring fans. You do not have people rooting for you. You do not have a crowd cheering for you. You are there by yourself, and nobody gives a fuck. And it sucks. It sucks. And I wouldn't want to go back to it. I don't want to go back to living in my Jeep. I've got a tiny, tiny little place that has a shower and a kitchen about as big as this table, and a bed and a TV, and that's it. And it feels like a fucking palace to me. And I'll tell you what, you're going to take a key away from that place from me, fighting me to the fucking death, because I'm not fucking getting rid of it.
I just think that
I'm
she could just leave and she could go anywhere in the world.
Well,
and
she
still
can't
Britney
without
Spears.
She can't even perform or do any of the things without the permission of that. That's what the onus is that she's under.
It, but look,
that's what she's under. She's trying to get out from underneath it. I hope she does. Man, I'm a fan. I'm rooting for her. I want her. I've never even been a Britney Spears fan until now.
I'm just saying, like, for her, I see her posting stuff on there and talking. I'm like, good. Fucking tell them.
I think wait a week.
I don't think
Wait
it's
a
gonna be
week.
over in a week.
I think you're going to get out of it real soon. She's got one of the best lawyers in the country on her side now.
Yeah, but nothing happens fast in the freaking court.
Well, but
man.
she
What she needs to do is stay relevant.
It is an ongoing process
I think she needs the entire thing to stay relevant, and people need to talk about it constantly. And if it takes her going out there saying, I fucking quit, I'm not doing this, this is what they do to me, to keep it going, then keep going. That's what I think. Because, look, we forgot about it for a long time. She's been in it for 13 years, and nobody talks about it. And it's not, look, you come out.
Well, she made it seem as if it didn't bother her.
Yeah, well, no, they made it seem.
Well,
like
however, she's out in public. She wasn't being, she wasn't like locked away in a room. I mean, she was up on stage every day for years.
I know.
And so she certainly had the ability at any point during those shows, and apparently she did. They're going back and showing clips of those shows, and apparently during those shows, she called out for help quite a few times and said, folks, I'm up here. I've got 106-degree fever, and they're making me do this show anyway. And I don't know if people thought she was joking or if they just, brushed it off but she was on stage in front of the public for a number of years. And there are several clips of her talking about how horrible her situation is. And I just don't think anyone, it was inconvenient. To have to, I bought a ticket to this show. Are you gonna do the rest of the show? I bought a $200 ticket to see you. Yeah, right. No, very sad. I'm praying that she gets free. I think it'd be a great moment for her. I think it'd be a great moment for anybody who's under one of those things and doesn't have her resources is trying to get out from underneath one. I hope she does. I just think she's so close. maybe it's not a week, maybe it's a month, maybe it's 6 months, but you're close. You're closer than you were a year ago. You're closer than you were, and you've got a great lawyer who's going to go in and fight hard for you, who's apparently done some magical things in other court cases. Let him do what he does. Let him go in there and try to win your freedom. If they come down on you again and say no, then I would agree with what you're saying. But I'd say run that process, just because there's, me, I got nothing. I mean, I got a couple dollars I could rub together, but she's got millions and millions of dollars. And not only that, she's young, man. She's 39. She has a lot of life to live.
Right.
She could still do a whole nother set of albums, a whole nother tour, if that's what she wants. Or she might do something else with her life. She might become a lawyer or become who the fuck knows what she could do. If she's not being told what to do, who knows what she could do.
Yeah, and that's just like what I played last week with Gary Vee. Like, if I just want to go build sandcastles in Peru, then fucking people say, oh, you weren't cut out for it. You worked too hard. You couldn't do it. Whatever. Look, let's live your fucking life. Be happy.
All right.
Okay.
Speaking of living our lives, this is one last thing I'm going to toss out there.
All right.
Tiny thing. We'll get over it quick.
All right.
I'm feeling the itch for making somebody laugh besides you.
Okay.
I need a stage, brother.
All right.
So I'm wondering, what can our podcast generate in terms of, if we wanted to go do a live show somewhere, is there support? Is there a thinking behind the people out there that are listening and paying attention that they would like to see a live show? I would love to do one.
Okay.
I would love for it to be broadcast as part of a show. I need to be on a stage. I'm feeling the itch bad. I started feeling it early today, and I was like, when we talk tonight, I'm just going to let them know. I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to see if there's a response. If you guys want to see us do a live show, I would love to get on stage and do some stand-up. I've missed it. I haven't done it in a while. Even if we have to go to an open mic and just shoot our segments, whatever you want to come up with as a plan. But I would like to get some live stand-up on the show, as part of the show.
Okay. Let's see where we could go. I'm gonna have to reach out to some people.
I'm off Thursday.
That's all right, because Megan's headed out of town Thursday, so I'll be Megan free Thursday through Monday.
I'm off
Let's
Sunday.
see, we got to find a place that has people showing up.
An open mic.
That's not an
With
open mic.
10 people. I don't
Yeah,
give a fuck.
it's fine somewhere. I mean, think about it. I'm gonna put out some feelers and we'll see what we can come up with.
Sounds good.
Maybe we can find somewhere that'll let us set up and do something. I
Sure.
don't have a PA system, but most places have something. We'll come up with something.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. If not this week, next week. I mean, we'll see if we can set something up.
Soon.
Set something up to do a live event.
You ever see the movie Top Gun?
Yep.
I feel the need
Yeah, there you go.
for speed. I do feel the need for speed. I need to get some speed.
Okay.
So
All right. Yeah. Maybe we can put something together. We just need to figure out find a venue. Well, if you're in the Atlanta area and you've got a venue that wants to generate some people, come watch something. Makes people laugh. Look, man, all we need is a spot, a little bit of space, some butts and some seats. Don't have to charge people no money. You just show up
yeah, just show up,
and
come up, and
make
have a
them
good
laugh. We can,
Yeah.
dude. I'm sure between the two of us, we can get some other comedians to show up and do some
Yeah,
time. And
no doubt.
it could just
Well,
be
we
fun.
go to an established one. It doesn't have to. We don't have to create our own. We could go to one that's already exists and just do our time and film it. I mean,
True. Okay.
whatever.
I'll have to see what's up aside from like the Limerick thing. There's got to be some other ones. I just haven't been out there.
All right.
But this Thursday, we'll go out there. We'll find something.
Sounds good, man.
I think
I'm excited.
I'll
I'll get ready.
to the airport. So I'll probably be downtown already.
I'll get ready. I'll be ready to go Thursday night.
All right. We'll find somewhere to go Thursday night. And even if it's not live, we'll still film it. We'll film it live, even if we can't for some reason stream it. But, all right, man.
All right, brother. Well, you know how it is. Some people are born free, some people die free, and some people just live free as fuck.
All right, man. We'll catch y'all on the next one.
Sure thing.